In just a couple of minutes, not even that. We'll be underway with the Thursday night edition of the Buddy Martin Show. This is the Orange and Blue Bloods program. We might have a little of our colors showing and coloring our opinions. That's okay on Thursday nights. And we've got a good lineup. Our whole team is back. Ben Troupe is back. Got married. Congratulations, Ben and Mrs. Troupe, for your marriage. Franz Beard in the sick bed for a couple of days is back. And Loren Meadows, the steady one, will join us tonight on the program. The anniversary of Richard Nixon's resignation as president 50 years ago today. What do you remember? Some of you weren't even born. Well, I tell you, I got a story that'll be all stories if I get to tell it tonight. Probably won't have the time, but I had really a brush with the White House and opportunity to be a part of what was going on there. It didn't work out with the fate. But anyway, if we get to that part and we don't have enough to talk about, which we do, which, by the way, was a great night, great day to be a Florida Gator. How about that Grant Holloway? So many great stories in the Olympics, and none better than Grant Holloway, a guy that's just an absolute prince of a person and a terrific athlete. I know Franz Beard has many stories to tell. So if you want to share any of that stuff, go ahead and hop on here and give us some message. We love to share those messages on this program, and we'll share it with you. Look forward to having you on the show tonight. Look forward to you listening, and looking forward to our guests. The Buddy Martin Show, Orange and Blue Bloods Thursday, is on the air. Tell your friends and neighbors.
Buddy Martin, call him up and tell him what you're thinking, but be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Buddy Martin. The program is called The Buddy Martin Show. Ben Troupe standing by. A married Ben Troupe is standing by in the orange and blue room. He's got wedding bells hanging all over him. I wonder if he's allowed to even go out at night anymore. I don't know. We'll find out what the rules are for him. I know it's very strict around my house these days. So it was a really good day today for Gators. How about that Grant Holloway? Wow. What a great moment that was in Olympic history. The Olympics have been filled with good stories, and I've really enjoyed it. If you're a Gator today, you're pretty proud of what you saw and what you saw the athletes do, and especially with Grant Holloway. Also, a lot of football talk. We had a terrific show last night. Lots of people on it starting to talk about what is this Florida team about. I mean, I'm bringing this theory that if the math is supposed to work out right, if you're playing the toughest schedule in the land, and you have a record that maybe not as good as some of those who have records that are better, but they play a lousy schedule, they told us they were going to take that consideration on strength of schedule. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure I believe that. Ben Troupe, do you?
I don't, but I would believe it if it wasn't Florida that had that rougher schedule. If it was another team, I would be like, yeah, they'll probably take it into consideration. I think for Florida, you know, you're going to hear all these things, but if you've been around Florida long enough, which Billy Napier has, Graham Mertz has, and, you know, guys like Derek Wingo and company, Cam Jackson, they should know this. Shamar James and them should know, look, fellas, if we think that we're going to get the benefit of the doubt in Gainesville, ask Kyle Trask how much benefit of the doubt he got in the Heisman Trophy voting. Ask Rex Grossman how much he got in how much consideration. And these, you know, obviously we going back to my era with Rex, but that's just bulletin board material to get your mind off of, listen, control what you can control, and that's on Saturday afternoons. Because, buddy, here's the thing. If we're waiting on someone, these rule makers or saying that they're going to give the benefit of doubt.
Mhm.
I wouldn't believe that one way or another. Because if that's the case, if that were the case, why would that even have to be said? Why do you got to give the benefit of doubt? Because you know that the quote best teams in the country don't have the hardest schedules in the country, but teams are trying to get back to that national spotlight. And when I say national spotlight, I'm talking about winning games consistently. You would have thought they was coming off national championships, but it's just gonna make it that much sweeter because, like I said, yes, I'm always gonna be on the Florida bandwagon. You know that's not rocket science. But 7-8 wins, prefer 9 wins with this schedule, we gonna see what they're gonna have to say. Because by the start of energy they got now before the season start, at the end of the year when the dust settles, Florida gets 8, 9, dare I say, double-digit win. I want to hear that same energy being given, and I don't want to hear nothing about, we thought Florida was going to be better than advertised. Because I ain't seen a schedule like this in a while, but I'm not surprised. But because I think for a guy like Billy Napier, unfortunately, he's going to have to earn it the hard way, which I know he knows that. But I mean, I just think that I don't. The NCAA, this is the same NCAA, and all these people giving people like Harbaugh a 1 year suspension if he comes back to college. What type? That's not even a disciplinary action if you think about stuff like that. But hey, Florida knows at the end of the day, the schedule makers didn't do them no favors. They saying things like the benefit of the doubt, which yes, they're gonna do that, but I'd rather have that through the public perception, because buddy, people that don't even know are gonna be like, dude, Florida plays how many teams in the top 25? What, 9? I think they play 9 of them. So hey man, we'll see what happens, but that's why we watch, that's why we strap it up. And I do agree with what you said, buddy. Grant Holloway, man, listen, congratulations. I mean, 3-time world champ. It was his to lose. Obviously, that's a lot of pressure on him, the way he's been running the 110-meter hurdles, but I'm so happy for him. And like I say, Mike Holloway, keep putting them out there. Yeah. I think we have I think Florida was the only school represented in swimming, men's swimming, to win a gold medal. If I'm not mistaken, I
think you're right. Yes.
But listen, the Olympics have been phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
It has been. I mean, the sprinting events, the long distance events. I've been listen, shout out to Serbia, taking U.S. men.
I'll tell you what, man, that was they were down 17 points, down 17, and get their butts kicked by Serbia. They took their best that they had, and LeBron.
Hey, but buddy, I will say this about international basketball. It's not so much that international basketball has caught up to the USA. They've just gotten a lot better. They've gotten a lot better. And some of the best
Jokic, we know about him.
Jokic. I mean, I think Wembanyama, I think they're playing France in the gold medal game. So Wembanyama, the #1 overall pick of 2023, he's for San Antonio, he's in that. And then you talk about guys like Giannis. Giannis from Greece. I mean, it's been a lot of guys in the NBA
that's real good today. Yeah, you're right.
Listen, we got it done. We so worried about, buddy, how many points you win by. No, just win the game. Just win the game. Move on to the gold medal round. We'll take it.
I think they bonded as a team today, like I hadn't seen it before. Back to a point I made earlier, I want to say that we'll be hearing from Franz here shortly. We're glad he's better. He had a little minor surgery situation. No, nothing's minor with surgery. He'll be back, and of course, Loren tonight. But I want to get to a point. Last night when I was having this conversation with Allie, David Moulton, and Edgar Thompson, we talked about whether things have changed dynamically for the Florida Gators. And you and I are renowned sunshine pumpers, they call us, right? We could never have a valid opinion because we can't see the orange and blue. But that's okay. But the bottom line is, when you just do the math, look at the Missouri schedule. It is awful. And look at Florida's, and you say, okay, they said they were going to take straight to the schedule, right? Yeah. So I'm asking you, there are how many playoff teams? 12, right? Mm-hmm. Right. So you get down to that 11th, 12th team, and you think, okay, here's some 9-3s and whatever. You look at Missouri and they're 9-3, or maybe they're even 10-2. But who they beat? They only got
Yes.
two teams, right?
Yes.
Florida,
Yes.
4.
Yes.
What are you going to take? They go, oh, buddy, stop it. What do you mean stop it? That's the way the game is played. You played the best. You had a decent winning record. I'm not predicting they're going to be 8-4, but they could be. They could be. So they got a puncher's chance. So that on top of what I've read lately, a couple of outside agencies saying, I know CBS picked their teams that had a best chance to win in the SEC, best chance to win in the national. And they had Florida number 10 or number 11 of those teams. Other agencies have done it. The blue chip index, as you know, you hear about it all the time. Florida's right up there, good. So I'm not trying to blow smoke or pump sunshine. I'm just simply trying to do the math.
You're being logical. That's why people are saying, "What do you mean, buddy?" All you gotta do is throw some little logic in that. But that's a great point, because once again, football is just like boxing. Just because you're a world champ, people gonna say, "Okay, who you fought? Huh? Who did you fight?" No one's saying,
right? Yeah.
Exactly. No one's saying you didn't beat the person that currently had the belt, but who did you fight? Because even if people don't like Florida's schedule in conference, they still play Florida State. They still play Miami. They still play UCF. So you're talking about supposedly powerhouses within their conferences. Florida's playing everybody in the state of Florida but USF, FIU, and FAU. Literally in the state. Remember that time, buddy, where people say, well, Florida need to play more teams in the state. And you get Miami, Florida State, and UCF, right? On top of Texas, Georgia, LSU, South Carolina, Missouri, and all these other teams know this. And I'm going to keep saying it. The last team you want to wake up is them boys in Gainesville. Because when they do, you already know what's going on. Florida's not a sleeping giant. For people to say sleeping giants are teams that haven't been good predominantly their whole time around, and they wake up like a Virginia Tech when they was good and them, and Coach Beamer, like that's a sleeping giant. No, Florida, right? If they come out of this little slumber we've been in, I'm telling you, buddy, because like I said, it's going to have a lot to do with the first 6 weeks of the season, because that gauntlet is coming the last half of the season and, in the middle of the season. I just think 8-9 wins with this schedule, if it ain't because here's the thing, people. College football playoff worthy is going to be putting your schedule up against every schedule. Florida has the hardest schedule in the country. That's against every other team.
Of all time.
The hardest schedule in the country. People say, why does that kind of stuff matter? Because that means before you even kick off, you got 9 top 25 teams. Before you even kick off. Now, I get that top 25 is going to switch up as the year goes on. But you're going to Texas. You still got Georgia, right? And I just think for this Florida team now, buddy, like I said, Missouri, shout out to them. They had an incredible season last year in 2023. I'm not taking that away from them. But like you just mentioned, if Florida's 9-3, no, let's switch it. Florida's 8-4, Missouri's 9-3. What's more impressive? It's going to be the 8-4, because I guarantee you them 4, not to count losses, are going to be way more impressive. Because like I said, this is a year that Florida State and Miami and UCF is going to help Florida's resume, because hopefully they're going to be good within their conferences. But I don't think it's going to be any more individual. I think the year of the undefeated, I think that's over with in the SEC and around the country. But buddy, like you said, 8-4 with this schedule. And I'm gonna say this: I don't care who don't like it. 8-4 with this schedule is SEC Coach of the Year type stuff. With this schedule,
and new contract. Well, yeah, you're right, Ben. All right, Ben Troupe is in the house. I want to talk to you. Are those wedding beads you got on, or
no? I got the ring. I always wear the beads. I always wear the beads.
I know that. That's why I'm kidding you. I know you wear the beads. I want to hear about it. My wife was going to bed. She was going to bed, but she stayed up because she wanted to hear your story about getting married, Ben. You said you were inspired by me.
I was. And the reason why it was similar, mind you, my mother name is Cheryl, and my wife name is Cheryl. So the first name of a woman I've ever known will be the last first name of a woman that I'm gonna spend, the rest of my life with. But Cheryl was she was a woman I've known a long time, and we knew each other like in a much younger me. And then, like I said, thank God for second, third, and fourth chances. Thank God for the fact that this woman has a heart of gold. And it was a moment in time. July 27th will always be a moment in time for me because I got to share it with some great people. And it was hot. I see. Listen. I have a podcast now called No Wedding in the Fall. So I literally can't get married in the fall if I got a podcast called No Wedding in the Fall. But it was so great, buddy, for the simple fact that you know how you see people get married and you're looking at the groom going, why is he getting all choked up? It's fine. Is it? Because it ain't you. When it becomes you, it's like, oh, okay, getting a little misty-eyed. And we did this thing that because we have 7 children together. And we dedicated, like we did our vows to each other, then we did our vows to our children. And I had to, I said some her children, I said something. I had to do my best to keep it together, to talk to my youngest, my 12-year-old, at the end. I'm just trying to keep it together. But it was so BJ Bennett and his family was there.
Was he?
Yeah. This BJ all suited and booted. It was what made it great was when when I go through what I go through in 2016, just going through a lot of my life. There were a lot of people who came into my life who helped me navigate to who I am now. And every last one of them were there. So it's not to have the people there that when I had no energy left, no enthusiasm left, I didn't have any reason to go on in life left. These people said, we got you. They never and I told them this too. I did my best to tell them this. In certain African countries, when a man and a woman gets ready to have a child, they come up with a song for the child. They ain't even had a child. They ain't conceived a child yet. And they come up with a song with each other and they teach the song to the village. That way, every time when the child comes out the womb, when the child has difficulties, instead of scolding the child, they just sing the song to him. The whole and whoever hears it, those people sung my song from 2016. Because, buddy, by the time you met me, I was a different me. By the time Buddy Martin meets me, now you would have saw me in 2016. I was a total different me then. But to have those people in attendance, for them to have genuine, unconditional, grace-filled love in that building. It was great. And I just appreciated everybody because people came from far and wide. I mean, they really, really did. And they endured. We had an outdoor wedding, so we enduring the heat out. Listen, ladies, I apologize for the makeup that was running. I appreciate y'all sticking with us. But it was it was great. And like I said, it's now people always say, hey, people say, hey man, behind every strong man is a strong woman. I said, no, beside every great man is an even greater woman. And like I said, buddy, people see you and your wife, and people go, buddy, how did you? I don't know. Listen, but when people see me and my wife, they go, Ben, how did you? I don't know how I got her. I don't care. I don't even got good credit. And she right there with me. So we good. We good for life. We good.
And they see your picture and my picture, and you say, that's my uncle. They
Listen, Buddy, the same guy at the bar that I saw in Savannah. When I see him now, he just throws his hands up like, nah, but I'm just out. Because to this day, we just laugh at it. But I said, because that's what you get in 2023. He was like, hey man, I apologize for disrespecting your people. I said, don't you ever come at my people like that, man. So yeah, man, Justin. Hey, Justin, I appreciate you listening, sir, man. Listen.
You're a Gator, even bigger fan, and to listen to your heart on this podcast.
Hey, I'm trying. Listen, I'm trying to be a part of the group. Listen, Frank. Listen, Buddy's married. I know Lauren's married. I'm trying. Listen, I'm a part of the. People say, hey, I'm surrounded by the best, baby. So and plus my wife. My wife is an early bird too. She's already in the bed snoozing. Her 2 people are in the bed by 8:30 every day. My dad and my wife. They going to bed. They don't care if it happened at 8.
Mine's already been in bed an hour by then. So there you go. So Ben, let me ask you a real quick question, and then we'll move on to sports. Thank you for sharing. I knew it'd be a night like this. I wanted you to be able to share to our people. This is what we do on Thursday
Yes,
nights.
sir. Yes,
We
sir.
show ourselves. We show our colors. We show our emotions, whatever. When you got up on ready to start the music and have whatever it was on the beach, and you looked around, was your wife there?
You said when I was at the beach.
You got ready to get married
Uh-huh.
on the beach, and you looked over. Was your wife standing there?
She was.
Okay. What if she hadn't been there? What if she had
Man,
not been there?
huh?
What if she had not been there? How would you react to that?
Oh shoot! I mean, buddy,
What would you say if she
I
wasn't?
I wouldn't know what to say, and I wouldn't know what to say because, and I can say this now because I'm a different. I was on a podcast called Sports Spectrum, right? It's a Christian podcast, right? It's a Christian podcast.
Okay.
And the guy, Jason Romano, he had me on there, man. And he said, Ben, man, I want you to come on. I want you to just, tell me about you. Tell me about your faith. I said in 2016, I was going to end it all. I was on St. Simon Island. I was going to walk out in that water, and I was never going to come back.
I never knew that. I never knew that.
Oh yeah, I was gonna. That's why. So, and what happened, and I'm living in Brunswick. I'm sorry. This is 20. I think this might be 2017. It's in between 2016 and 2017.
Yeah.
So I go to St. Simon Island. I'm living on Brunswick. I'm going to St. Simon. But to this day, I don't know how long it took me to walk. I got waist deep in this water.
You actually went out in the water.
I turned around. I walked back to my car. God showed me a picture of my kids' faces. He didn't show me my wife's face at the time. He didn't show me because I wouldn't understood. Fast forward. It's me and her on the same beach. And I said, I got to tell her. I can't be out here and not tell her what I was going to do. So I said, Cheryl, this is where I was going to end it all. She grabbed my hand.
The same place where you were going
I went to the same place and I showed her. She grabbed my hand. We looked out on that water and we prayed together. She said, let's pray about it. Most of the time, buddy, when you tell somebody your most vulnerable moment in your life, you expect them to give you some type of what is wrong with you. Never said a word. All she said was, I love you. Let's pray about it. And here's the thing. My mother's name is Cheryl Troupe. My wife's name is Cheryl Troupe. Sure. So the fact that I am sandwiched in between two Cheryl, it is the funniest thing. And when I told my mother who I was gonna marry, and I told her what her name was, my mama didn't believe me. She said, her name was Cheryl. I go, yeah. All my mother said was, she says, all I've ever wanted was to have a great relationship with my daughter-in-law. Now, mind you, I ain't never heard my mom say anything like this. And like I said, buddy, it's one of those things. And buddy, you know this. When people say, how do you know if she's the one? You always get these questions when you marry. People they think you the guru when you marry. And I said, to me, it's simple. You got to answer these questions. Does she make you better or worse? Period. There ain't gonna be no in between. She either make your life better or she makes it worse. And when you can decide if she makes your life better, I think that's somebody worth taking a shot at life at, because as good as we can be without him. Listen, it's a dude named Neo. He got a song that he said, I'm good all by myself, but I'm a force when we're together. That's how I feel. When it comes to this woman, I'm a force when I'm with her. And I just appreciate you, buddy, because I think the thing about you that you don't understand is you think people want to emulate what you do behind these mics. They want to emulate what you do in life because they see you in both. I've seen you in life, and you went through a lot. When you lost your wife, that's rough. That's a lot to go through. And for God to say, no, I got you. Like I get, and the great part about it is your wife now did not replace the wife you had. She said, I'm not here to replace her. I'm just here to walk beside you. And when you told me you was getting married again, I said, man, because mind you, I'm in the process of saying, am I gonna marry this woman? I said, Lord, I need some signs right here. Then here you go telling me I'm getting married.
All right, now I'm gonna have to tell you this story. I want to know this.
Yes, sir.
It's your story, but now I got to tell you. Number one, Dawn and I were sweethearts 62 years ago. Okay, we were very close and loved each other then, and we ended up not left. I went to school. But here's the thing about what you said. when I found out, and I'm doing a little book on this, is a miracle of how I discovered where she was, what she was doing, what her name, was she married. I had no idea after my wife had been dead a couple of months, and I was gasping for air, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know. My kid friend said, "Well, get out amongst some people. I don't want to be around anybody else right now." No, you got to get out amongst the people. And I wound up going there, and I thought about Dawn. So I wonder where she is, or if she's alive, what her name is, what's going on. And I asked around the table, the coffee table where I was sitting. I said, "Y'all remember this girl named Dawn Brown that used to be in Ocala?" "Yeah, no, not really." And finally, I turned to the guy next to me. I said, "You remember this girl, Dawn Brown?" He says, "No, I remember her." I said, "Do you know where she is?" He said, "No, but ask the guy at the end of the table. That's her brother-in-law."
That's a brother-in-law?
Brother-in-law. Now, I'll cut the story short because there's a whole bunch of more miraculous things that went on.
Mm-hmm.
When I finally got a hold of her after 99 calls, and I couldn't get her. And she finally said, "Buddy, this is Dawn." Wow. And we had a conversation that night. And we had conversations every night for the next 3 weeks or more. Every night, pillow talk, iPhones on the pillow, getting to remember what it was like, talking about our great times, about our feelings. And we're trying to say, "Wait a minute, I'm having some kind of feelings going on here. What is this?" And I was starting to get these feelings. And Ben, after about 2 weeks of that, you talk about signs?
Of course.
Well, I'm very boring everybody, folks. I'm sorry. But I woke up one morning at 5 o'clock, 5:15, 5:30. And I went out and thought, "I'll take the garbage out," because, the garbage is coming that day. So I take the garbage bag out, and I walk in the front yard, and here's this huge star I've never seen before, a huge star. I thought, "What is that?" And I'm standing there, and I'm looking at the star. I'm thinking, "Wow, that's very moving," And I thought, I got to go back. And so I'm going to go put this garbage up. And I put the garbage up. And I said, "I got to go back out there and see that star again." And I went back out and looked at that star. I immediately thought about Dawn. Immediately thought about her. I had feelings bubbling up. And I felt like someone said to me, "Are you willing to make an ultimate commitment to this woman?" I'm thinking, where's that coming from? I don't even know about that, And I said, "Yeah, I am." I just knew right. And I knew at that moment I was going to marry Dawn. And I'll tell you what, that star turned out to be Saturn, which that night was the closest to the earth it had ever been. And that was the star I saw. And I knew at that moment I was going to marry Dawn. Now, you talk about things, spiritual things.
Of course.
Right? So we got married. There we go. Anyway, a great story. I'm so happy for you. I can't wait to meet Cheryl. Let's talk to football. I know I got in a minute coming here. Franz will be along. I'm glad to be talking to him. And I just wanted to say, I know you and I are the king among sunshine pumpers, but and by the way, Nat Blaylock says hello to you, your buddy. But I think I'm starting to feel and see and think because you and I are not afraid to express what we're thinking and feeling.
Of course.
Yeah, Gator. Yeah, we are. Yeah, but we also are not stupid, right? So when I see the thing, and here's what I was going to say. Well, take a break after this. I had Urban Meyer on my show last week. We had a nice conversation about football, and I said to him, "You and Spurrier ruined it for everybody in Florida because what y'all did can't ever be repeated again." And I said, and I don't know, Florida football will never be like it was. And he said, "I'm not so sure you're right about that. I think it might be." Really? Really? Are you serious? Because I think those are golden days. But, he says he thinks they can do it. So now we're right here at the crossroads on the precipice. And as we're starting to lean in and see, it's going to be really exciting if they do go 5-1. Whatever happens to the back half of the season is a bonus, right?
It is, buddy. And here's the thing about Urban when he tell you that, right? That's that thing that only Urban can see. Because here's the thing, right? When Urban comes in, they were telling him that, right? They're telling him it'll never be another time when Spurrier was here. He goes, "Really?" You know, it'll never be like. And to Urban, that's the challenge, right? The challenge is, hey man, I want to know what it's like when Gainesville is really rocking. When we win when we win in championships and competing for championships. I think what Urban is really saying, and hopefully Billy Napier can understand, is he goes, look, man, you ain't here because you can't do it. They used to always tell us that. You ain't here because you can't do it. No, you here because you can. Now, that don't mean you will. But if the all-time leading sacker in Florida history came here as a linebacker, he moved to DN. That's Alex Brown. He was supposed to play linebacker. They moved him to DN. Look at what happened, right? Percy Harvin, he was so good that Urban Meyer said, I'm going to use him at running back and receiver. Yeah. Look at what he became. I think what Urban Meyer is telling Billy Napier and all those current players is, Graham Mertz came back because he goes, look, man, I wanna, leave a legacy at Florida. Because the legacy of Kyle Trask never happens unless Felipe Franks gets hurt. True. Look at how these things end up happening the way they do. So for me, Chris Doran grew up a Florida Gator fan from Gainesville, right? Went to a Florida State game, said, I can't do this chump. Look at what happened. So for me, I think, buddy, what Urban is saying, look, man, because I walked them walls, because I've seen, all it takes is one moment. It ain't even a whole game. One moment can decide the rest of a season or, good or bad. So I think what Urban is saying is he ain't saying it's going to be easy. He's like, look, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. But you will not get a greater barometer of what is to come with a season like this. Because a season like this, these players, these coaches, the head coach, everybody wants to say, hey, man, remember when we did, it's a question mark. It's always, remember when we was a team that did what nobody said we could do? Or we did what we knew we could do out in Gainesville. We don't really need the naysayers outside of it. So I think when Urban told you that, he's basically saying, look, when you had that many alpha male dominant type A personalities on them teams I coach, I had to wheel all that together because that's a lot of.
Yeah, he also said if we're going to bring fans on board, but he also said that the reason you could is because you can recruit right there in your backyard. Unlike when he was in Notre Dame or other places, you had to travel all over the country. He said you got a school that wants to win, a program that's in good shape, you got talent there, you got money. He said you can do that. That can happen. As we bring in Franz Beard, welcome back. He's feeling better. He's eating a cookie already. Holy mackerel. Stand right there, Franz, while I tell people this program is being brought to you in part by our friends at Meldon Law. If you don't know about Meldon Law, you're missing out. They have a new office open in Williston. That means Williston, Lake City, Ocala, and Gainesville. They're out there to help you if you have an injury situation. They're the official injury law firm for the University of Florida. They also are big fans. They do a lot of things in sports and Gators, sponsor programs, always giving away stuff. Jeffrey Meldon is a super Gator, and he wants you to know his firm will not back down. Meldon Law. Check him out. Franz Beard, as I live and breathe, he's alive and eating. How are you, buddy?
A little rough around the edges, but today wasn't a particularly good day, but it's what the doctor said. Said days 2 and 3 would be the most difficult, and today's day 2. So he lived up to his word. So I can't. I got to admit that it was uncomfortable, but I'm okay.
I'm sorry you had that. I'm glad you're up, and I thought about you today because your boy Grant Holloway really shone today. It was one of the happiest moments I've seen, not just because he was a Gator, but you could see the people's joy when he won the 110 hurdles, and he blew them away, and he was so joyful ringing that bell. It was a wonderful scene, the Olympics, Franz.
Grant's one of the classiest Gators we've ever had in any sport. I mean, it's a guy that graduated from the University of Florida in 3 years, who has always represented the school well, perfect gentleman on and off, and what a competitor too. 12.99, 110 meters jumping over those hurdles is no small feat. I know most human beings can't even run 100 yards, much less 110 meters.
Wait a minute, you're getting personal there.
Oh, I can't.
How about walking 100 yards? Let's start with that.
Well, but he's amazing, and it was a fun afternoon too because the girl Sydney McLaughlin.
Oh
Yeah.
Wow,
She's
she had an
400 meter
18-foot
hurdle.
flat. She's a beautiful lady, smart, beautiful. What a
I mean,
athlete.
she was what 10 seconds ahead of everybody.
Yeah, I think she broke her own world record from she broke it from like 4 years. She is the queen of 400. I mean, 400 is one, and y'all both know 400 is that's a beast right there. And y'all got to jump over hurdles for 400 meters.
And did it in 50 seconds.
I mean, she can do this. She can jump over hurdles faster than people can run. I mean, this whole Olympics. I mean, Noah Lyles winning 100. The Hall dude, that 400 that the Hall dude
ran was amazing.
I mean, I've never seen nothing like that
I've never seen a
ever.
400 in my life.
The 1500. I mean, it's been
up there. Yeah,
these are the best. These are the best athletes on the planet, and what they're displaying to me is crazy. Grant Holloway came in with a lot of pressure because he was the world. Everybody just expected him to win it, and that, you know how it is, friends. When that much pressure is on you, then it's all about technique, like finishing the race, getting over that last hurdle. And I was just happy for Grant because, I mean, Grant was supposed to play football, end up running track, and thank God he's at Florida, and then Mouse get a hold of him. And now he 3-time world champ, Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
It's almost like, hey man, what you end up doing? I ain't played for. What you doing now? I'm just an Olympian. I'm a gold medalist, world champ. Grant Holloway could do anything. He can do anything he wants, and I think that he said it best. He goes, look, man, if you run a track not to win gold medals, I mean, what the hell are you doing it for? Like, if you're not trying to win gold medals in the Olympics, and like I said, shout out to all the Olympians though, whether you win a medal or not, to even be in Paris is ringing that bell and everybody just enjoying themselves over there. It's been amazing to watch from top to bottom.
And by the way, good mention. By the way, Noah Lyles. He didn't get the double, but he didn't
get the double. He didn't get the double
to finish third while running with COVID.
No. Listen, Noah Lyles is great for the sport of track because he has that Caitlin Clark type of tension on him. Everybody's watching him. He likes that. And like I said, to win the double in track, he's the fastest man in the world. He didn't win the 200. That's fine. He won the 100. You're the fastest man in the world. And to those people who say, hey, my kid is pretty fast in the 100. If you can't run sub 9, you can't win in the Olympics. Because when Carl Lewis and them was running the 100, to win it, you had to run a 9.93, 9.94. They coming in 9.81, got third. So these times are coming.
Hey Ben. Someday get on YouTube and watch Bob Hayes run the final leg of the 4x100 relay in Tokyo. There's nobody in history as fast as that man, period. You watch him come from 12 meters down over 100 yards and win. And Bob Hayes,
being a big track was the reason why.
With the equipment and training they have today, you put Bob Hayes in, and Buddy saw Bob Hayes too. And Bob Hayes was in a FAMU backfield. The slow man was Bob Paramore from Ocala, who only ran a 9.5 100 yards. He was the slow man.
In 1994, I was 12 and I was running I was running track. I was running summer track. We had just moved to Augusta. We got out of the small town, went to Augusta. I ran with the Road Runner Track Club. I didn't know anything about summer track. I got to go to Maryland and Atlanta and all these places. I made it to the Nationals. The Nationals was held at the University of Florida in 1994. So before I ever got to Florida, as an athlete, I was there, and for the first time in my life, Buddy and Friends, I was 12 years old. I was standing there. I made it for the long jump in the 4x1. We go to the 4x1. There was a kid standing next to me. He has two things. He has muscles and he has a mustache, and he's 12. I said, "Oh, I'm not gonna beat him." I told my mom, I said, "Mom, these kids got fish hair," but he was a bunch of Florida kids, and like I said, man, it was one of the best times of my life being in Gainesville when I was a youngin' and just experiencing like that type of atmosphere. But hey, man, what can I say? Guys were good.
Well,
Let me tell you what I can say. I got to take a quick break here and say that I want to thank our sponsors. I'm glad Franz is back. Titan MRI is one of them. There are people you want to know about if you need an MRI anywhere around Ocala. You can't beat this kind of personal service. If you don't like having MRIs, this is a good place for you to go because they're conscious of the fact that you can get kind of claustrophobic in those small places. They got to help you have a good experience. They'll even give you a custom-made appointment if you can't come during the office hours, day when you're working. They'll make one at night or the weekends. They'll take care of you there. And if you don't have insurance, they'll take cash your card. They are good people. They're good to know. If you need an MRI, I encourage you, go to TitanMRI.com and let's say hello to Coach Loren Meadows tonight.
How you guys doing?
Well, we're doing good. Franz is alive. That's one good thing.
Yeah, man. Good to see you, Franz.
Good to see you
upright.
Yes, a lot of people last night were saying, "Where's Franz? Where's Franz? Where's Franz?" I don't know. I know he's got some kind of medical procedure. I can't tell you, but we're glad to see you back, Franz.
Got that Botox so he can look young.
Botox would have been fun.
Yeah. I need to get some of that. Where did I go to get that? No. Anyway, so gentlemen, we're just having a good conversation here. What about the Olympics? And I know, Loren, you know a lot about the track program, and I know we're going to talk about some more the next couple of days. It was a good day to be a Gator today. There's so many good stories out there. We talked to a couple. Don and I have enjoyed the Olympics. The volleyball was a terrific story. The win that they were struggling to beat Brazil, and finally did.
Mm-hmm.
They played France in the finals. Basketball, France, they were down 17 points.
Yeah.
And came back, and the big guys.
Serbia got to there in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden says, "What are we doing here?"
Yeah.
I really believe Serbia got psyched out by its own lead. They're sitting there looking across, and they start looking at these guys who are NBA people and everything like that, and they psyched themselves out. I think they had the game. I think they had the game won, and they got away from what they were doing well.
Well, I'll tell you something else they did. LeBron said, not in my house. He took that ball in that fast break. He was going to make that deuce. That ball was going to go in there with no freight train. Lauren's going to stop him.
Well, I think if you look at it, I think it came down to, and like Franz said, they looked across, but, when you got arguably 4 of the top 5 players in the world on the U.S. team, I think it just, it ultimately became Jimmy's and Joe's. The Serbs shot the lights out early, really for almost 3 3/4 of quarters. And, it just shows you the ability of the 3 ball to not only get a lead, but to keep pace. Curry being 9 of 14 from 3-point range. They have been waiting on him to explode with that.
36 points.
36. Yeah, and just
he kept him in the game.
Yeah, and eight rebounds. So a 36, 8, and 2 game from Curry, a triple double from LeBron, and I think it just goes. You just talk about the greatness of all those.
Embiid is a beast.
Embiid. Just
don't talk about Joel Embiid with me. The guy was here at the Rock in Gainesville, and he went to Kansas.
That happened. That did.
That hurts.
But hey, man, I think you just look at it. When a guy like Jason Tatum is struggling to get minutes, it just shows you the greatness of that team. And You know, like I tell people, take all the off the court stuff. How you feel about respect what the game, the NBA game, and the pro players, and what those that came before them have done for the international game. I mean, it just speaks volumes for what it's going to be in the next 5 to 10 years. And you know, you got to give credit to all those guys: Curry, LeBron, Durant, Jokic. You know, and just keeping that thing alive. So it just, I mean, LA's going to be fun too, because the European players aren't going anywhere. So I mean, you could think about France, where they have 3 of the top 5 picks this year. I mean, they may be the favorite outside the U.S. in LA in 4 years. So you know, I think you're going to see most countries throwing their best ball every 4 years in basketball from now on until somebody finally takes out the U.S.
Yeah, and I tell you, we're going to get back to football here because Ben and I were having a really good conversation about whether they're really telling the truth when they say strength of schedule matters, and what happens if Florida goes 7-5, you know, and Missouri goes 9-3, or whatever it is. You know, is it going to matter? We'll get to that in a moment. But first, today on practice, we read a practice report talking about the running back situation. I've had this conversation with several people during the week, and I think you and I talked about it last time, Franz. Trent Webb looks like he's the guy, and he obviously will be. But everybody says, don't worry about it. But he ain't going anywhere, Johnson. Montreal's going to be there, and even Billy in practice today said it's a minor injury. You know, we expect him back, and then he's talked about the 4 backs behind him, the 2 new kids, and the kids they got in there. And you know, I love me some Jaden Ball. Now, he might not be, Loren, ready to go in there and play with all the blocking schemes, pick up the blitz and all that stuff. Let me ask each one of you guys, if it's not going to, if you took Trent Webb out and you took out Montreal, who would you give the ball to, Ben?
I mean, on a question like this, you know, these are the ones that scare me. Only because I mean, and Franz and Loren know this. Experience matters, you know, at this level of football. And I would say any one of those youngins not named Trayon in Montreal for this reason. You can't beat experience. And the thing about the running back position in Florida, they doing it the right way. You got 5 guys, every last one of them different. None of them are the same. None of them do the same thing. But unfortunately, when you talk about the game of football, it is going to be by committee. So if Trayon and Montreal can't go, it's going to be by committee. So I say you give all of them a chance. And I think you just said it, though, buddy. In football, all you got to know what a running back is this. They're going to say, see that guy that's standing next to you? Yeah, they got Mertz on his chest. Mertz on his back. Yeah, you have to keep him upright. You got to keep him upright like you want to pick it up on 3rd and 1. Because I don't care how much you can run in between the tackles. If 15 on his back, it don't matter. And I guarantee you, that's the hardest thing for everybody not named that don't play quarterback position to understand. You got to protect that dude because he is the most important. He did not come back to live on his back, and I know he's battle tested.
Like that, did not come back to
on his back. Listen, when you people don't. A lot of players are not fans of walkthroughs. That need to be your best friend. I want to know where the blitz are coming from. I want to know if I got to look. I got to go across. You know, I got to know where the protection is coming from. Because, like I said, if you don't believe that them running backs better know how to pick up the blitz, that's the most. Because if you're doing that, that's how you get the rock.
The running's instinctive. These guys have been running the football all their lives. It's just like catching a football. If you've been catching all your life, it's instinctive. What they don't understand is they come here and Billy Gonzalez all of a sudden says, hey, guys, guess what? Blocking 101. And they say, huh? What do you mean block? You know, and the same thing with running backs. They come here and the first thing they say is, what you mean I got to pick up a 280-pound guy that runs as fast for 20 yards as I do? You know, and that's what's going to decide it.
Well, you made an interesting point there. You talk about Trey Wilson. I heard him today, and I think I listened to his bite. I heard him say he did not like Billy Gonzalez when he first came there. Did you read that or hear it?
I was there. I was there.
You'll talk about it. I mean, He has said, when I got here, I didn't like Billy Gonzalez. And why do you say, Loren?
He said that it was just a different messaging. Billy Gonzalez was demanding. He really didn't like the way that he kind of came at him. And there's I used to work football camps and you guys see the pleasant Loren Meadows, but I'm going to one of my players' wedding, former player's wedding this weekend, and if we could get him on the show, I think he'd tell you a different story. But Billy Gonzalez is not going to sugarcoat it. I can look back last year. I went to a couple practices, and Ricky Pearsall wasn't feeling Billy Gonzalez much either. But the demand that he puts on his players is what makes that lineage that he's had over so many years. That's what makes those guys great. And like Franz said, you're going to block on the perimeter if you play for Billy Gonzalez. And then what Florida does now, blocking on the perimeter is such a premium. I mean, you got to have those guys getting after it, and Billy's the best at. And it's not just getting in front of the guy and staying with him. If they throw bubble, you got to block this way. If it's quick screen, you got to block this way. If it's inside run, you got to block this way. You got to read the support guy. Sometimes you block in the corner, sometimes you block in the safety. So I think that Billy's good at that. And like Ben said, those are the things that you got that 4-week player. Well, in high school, that 4-week player is an outside guy that's coming. At the college level, when you're running back, it could be a safety, it could be a corner, it could be 2 safeties in the A gap. I mean, there's so many things. So, back to your original question, I don't care the running back. After you get past your best 2 backs, you want guys that can get you 4 yards a click. When they're running the ball, if they can get you 4 click, that means you're going to be ahead of the chains in the big scheme of things. But can you step up, like Franz said, and smack and stalemate that rusher that you're designed to pick up? And that's where, that's who you play. Gotcha. Whoever does that the best, that's who you play.
That's why the best stat for really telling what an offense can do is called YPA, yards per attempt. Because it's not how many yards you get on your completions. How many yards are you getting on your pass attempts? Because if you're averaging, last year, Graham Mertz averaged 8 yards per pass attempt. The only guy that's averaged that much since the Tebow era is a guy named Kyle Trask, who's pretty good, you gotta admit, but none of the other quarterbacks could do it. He averaged 8 yards per pass attempt last year, which is good. If you're not averaging at least 7.5, you're a very average offense. You're never going to be very good.
Right.
You got to be going up to 7.7, 7.8, 7.9, 8 an attempt.
Yeah. All right. So getting back to the subject we danced around, that is the wide receivers. Now, I was on the show with Jay Matthews, which I am every Monday with his show, or Tuesday, I guess it is. He's on with me Monday night. And he said, I'll tell you right now who's going to start at wide receivers. I said, okay. He hadn't been out to one practice, not the only short period of time. He says it's going to be Trey Wilson. We all knew that. And he says it's going to be DK. And he says it's going to be a Badger. Now, Franz, and all y'all, especially Loren, since you've been there, what would you think of that, Teresa?
I like it myself. Yeah, you got a guy in Wilson who can do all the interesting things that really create nightmares for a defensive coordinator. You got Badger who's a streak, and then you got DK who is that 17-yard pass that is the staple of a good offense. He runs that route perfectly, and he's that guy. I used to talk to Al Davis, and Al Davis used to say, the thing he loved about Blitnikoff, he says, couldn't outrun me, but he says could run a 17-yard route and catch the ball every time. And that's the staple in the NFL. And really in college ball too.
Yeah, Ben, I see you nodding your head. I know you haven't had a chance to see him. I've only seen clips. What's your thought about that wide receiver group? There's some other pretty good guys in that group that he didn't mention too.
I mean, I like that lineup because I think you get everything you need in the offense. You got a perimeter guy, as you mentioned. You got a streaker and Badger. DK is going to be like a Chris Doring type guy. Like he's going to be a possession type guy, but he's moving the chains. Wilson is more like your Swiss Army knife, but a guy you got to get in there. It's Khalil Jackson.
Get the ball.
Amen.
No. You got to get Khalil Jackson in there because what happens is he's such a mismatch nightmare, and to be that big, he can do it all. Obviously, he got that. He has that. He come from that bloodline. But for me, I like those three. I think Khalil Jackson just gonna do. He can do more with less. He don't need that many throws a game. But I think what Florida has, you got 4 or 5 guys that can go get it, and that's what you like. Like people be thinking, I need one main guy. No, I need 3 or 4 guys. I need a slot guy. Check. I need 2 perimeter guys, check, and I need a big dude that can do both. Khalil Jackson can do both. He can work. He can go inside and out. And like I said, I just like the fact that you bringing in 2 transfer guys. The one is familiar, obviously, with Mertz, and one is coming from ASU because of Pearsall. You got 2 guys that can run the whole route tree, and Wilson is going to be the guy. I think Florida got some really, really good options because what makes a good offense is just that. I need a plethora of guys that can go out there and get it done. And like I said, what Ricky Pearsall will bring to an offense is sure-handed, one-on-one, he's going to win. Now you got to cover the whole field with their receivers now. And pick your poison. And like I said, once again, O-line can hold up. Graham can go through his reads. We got a shot to be in any game, and that's before you even get to the run game. But I do like Badger, I do like DK, I do like Wilson. But like I say, if 22 ain't out there, that's a problem. Because that kid gonna be a problem this year. I think he's gonna really help that offense.
Loren, I agree with what he said. I think he's the third down back. If you want to go 4 wides, especially, he's sneaky. You can get him in the game. He catches the football. He gets open, and he quietly does the job like a real pro. So these are guys he's unsung, but I think what they're looking for is depth, Loren. They don't want to get a ball deep. Want to get these guys over at the end. And by the way, Khalil can do that too.
Right.
Other young receivers you're going to be hearing about too. Do you get a chance to see any of those other young receivers?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, people forget. You still got Marcus Burke. You got Andy Jean, who I'm high on. You got Aiden Mizell, who can flat out go. And Khalil Jackson is going to be in the mix because, like Ben said, you need that steady hand in every offense. Every receiver group has to have that steady hand. And I'm gonna shout out some guys. Jordan Gridleo, C.J. Taylor, Justin Watkins, guys that played for me that were steady hand guys, were there where they needed to be. And that's what Khalil Jackson is, a guy that just he doesn't do anything great, but he does everything well.
Catches the ball.
Yeah, but like I said, it's not just he understands the whole process. He can make you look at it last year in his body of work. He made every type of catch you need somebody to make. He had the over the shoulder joint against South Carolina. He had the tap toe against Tennessee. I mean, he does all those steady things. But that competition in that room is going to be stiff. And I know that Billy sometimes doesn't give us a lot, but they really have a group that's about 6-7 deep because, like I said, guys like Mizell, Gene, you throw in Eugene Wilson, that sophomore group, but Marcus Burke when he's right, and then like you said, you got Badger, DK. I mean, they got a real and a lot of people forget. Jaquavion Frazier has made some big catches.
I'm a Frazier's guy. He's also.
I am too. I mean, he's a big old kid.
Smart.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and as a program guy, so I mean, all those guys are going to be key. But I mean, I would say the top 4 from what I've seen and gathered is obviously DK, Badger, Wilson, and then Khalil. And because Billy's a Khalil guy, and anytime you got the back end of your head coach, you in good shape, Ben. You know how that is. And then, like I said, the young Buckaroos. I really like the 2 sophomores, Mizell and Gene too. I'm a big Andy Jean guy. If Andy Jean can stick through wait his turn. The next 2 years are going to be really good for Andy Jean if he stays here in Florida, which he should, because you're getting coached by the best. Unless he's going to go to Ohio State, there's nobody that compares to Billy Jean.
On the field there. And by the way, we got just around out of time. I'm going to give each of you 15 or 20 seconds to pick out one position on defense and tell me what you're most worried or most concerned or most encouraged by. And which position is that, Loren?
Safety, Asa Turner.
He's hurt.
I mean, well, he's not hurt. He's full go, but just a little dinged up. This happens in camp, especially when you're playing safety the way you're supposed to play it. Just got a little ding. He's fine. He was in a tackling drill, but he just had the black on. But he was hitting the pad and doing those things. So they're just kind of keeping him healthy, because you got to have that guy. But I think that he is somebody that, if he's playing alongside Jordan Castell. Once again, you talk about somebody that's played a lot of snaps in big-time football that will help steady Castile, and he walks the walk, man. He's a big old dude. I mean, he's got a lot of size, and that's where I'm at.
All right, Ben.
Cornerback. I mean, Jason Marshall, he's coming back. Obviously, they hasn't had the career we thought he would have at this point. But he's being honest about where he was. He's being honest about where he is now, getting his confidence back. I think having a guy behind him like us, I think it's going to help him, because cornerback's best friend is knowing I got a safety over top. That's going to be right there. I want to see what him and Devin Moore are going to do this year, because it's not that our DBs have been bad. They just have not been able to track the football in the air. They be right there every single time. Like I say, everybody's going to be watching the very first play from scrimmage when we play Miami on defense. Because remember last year, the very first play, we was like, here we go. Every Florida fan was like, what in the world is going on? Guaranteed. So for me, I like Austin, but Jason Marshall, man, he's coming back. I think he'll have a big impact this year.
All right, Franz, is an edge rusher for you?
No, it's Grayson Howard, because I like having that big, really big physical guy in the middle, and I think he's going to make Shamar James that much better. Having that guy like that's really, really good at keeping keeping the lineman from getting to his legs, so that he's always in position to make plays. Shamar James has got that quickness that you like, but you got to have a big, strong guy beside him. And I think Grayson Howard's going to be a difference maker.
Or we know him as Pup, right?
Yeah.
Pup Greg. Yeah, Pup Howard.
Pup. Yeah, bless, sure. All right, guys, great job tonight. Appreciate you very much. A lot of good comments tonight. Good crowd. And we'll answer some of these questions eventually. David Baldo's got a bunch. Larry Gross, etc. Thank you guys for getting involved. Thank you guys. All of you were terrific tonight. Have a great weekend. We're back at it next week. We're going to count it down. Gator football is underway.
3 weeks from Saturday.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a good weekend.
Hey guys, good night. Thank you, folks. All right, this is time when I like to talk about my friends and a company that's just doing great things. I don't do a commercial on this because I want to talk about the company. And the company is Renstar Medical Research. They are looking out for me just like they're looking out for you, and that is your health. Renstar is a company that's been around for a while. It was started by my friends Joe Sorrentino and Mary Brantley, the wife of Scott Brantley and Joe Sorrentino, the father of the defensive back Joe Sorrentino. And the whole idea is to find out about our health and what proclivities we have, what we have, and they want you to understand the importance of clinical trials. Clinical trials gives them a chance to gather data about us in our area and then send it off to the biomedical companies they deal with to factor in how these prescriptions and these drugs are made. Let's be honest about it. Right now in life, our prescriptions get us through at a certain time. We need them. And this is a company that's very conscious about that. So they're asking you to volunteer, come in, go to Renstar.net, find out when the next trial is. They have them on everything from asthma to Well, you just look it up. There's have tons of trials. And if you think you might want to know or be qualified for this, you can write them a note, see if you qualify. If you do, be a part of this group and be compensated for time and travel and no charge to your insurance, etc. And may, in some cases, be able to use some of the investigational medication others don't get. So, Renstar Medical Research seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. Thank you so much for our group tonight, for Ben Troupe sharing the story of his marriage. That was very tender comments. Appreciate that. On this show, especially Thursday nights, we divulge our feelings, let you know how we found. We're vulnerable. Put it out there. Of course, good to see Franz Beard back after his little health episode. Hope he'll be strong as ever in writing for GatorBaitMedia.com, which we hope you'll check out, GatorBaitMedia.com. And of course, it's always good to have Coach Loren Meadows. On behalf of them, I'll say thank you for listening and thank you for watching. And we'll be back this week. And don't forget, while we're away, you can also check out GatorBaitMedia.com and listen to Rob Brown in the morning on SEC Sidelines. Does a terrific job on that show. But if you do that, you know that you get good information for around the SEC. Have a great night, folks. A great weekend.